Welcome back to part 2 of my behind the scenes with Michael Learned. If you are enjoying these, please do hit like and subscribe. All right, Michael, so we get a chance to know people that we see on the screen all the time and find out new things about them and who they are away from the cameras and the lights and the red carpets and the Emmys and things like that. So what's life when you're not winning Emmys?
Oh, it's so boring. No, you know all my secrets, Judy.
No, I was young. You didn't share all your secrets at
that's
that
true.
point. And then there was some that are not fit for
No, not for public consumption.
certain shopping expeditions, which shall not be named.
So, it's funny. I've reached an age now where I don't feel like I have to be Little Miss Perfect anymore. And there's enormous freedom in being old, really. And I also am blessed with John, as you know. He's a good guy. And so he doesn't make me feel like I have to be Little Miss Homemaker and all of that. We have a nice home. We hope it's warm and inviting for people, and usually people come in and say, what a nice cozy house you have. And
It is. You have a wonderful, warm, inviting home. And
thanks. Life is good. And I don't know, I mean, I seem to be busy all the time. I couldn't tell you what I do in the course of a day, but I'm busy all the time. I don't know if you experience the same thing, but
I do. Now, you have been talking for years about writing a book. Is that still something that you're...
Yeah, but you have to sit down and do it. That's the problem.
And what would it be about? Your life or stories of...
I think the thing that most people would be interested in is the Waltons. And that's the least interesting aspect of my life. I just think I had a very interesting childhood.
What was interesting about your childhood for people who don't know anything about your
childhood? We lived on a beautiful farm that was a small farm, so it wasn't an agricultural farm. And the people who had owned it before us were landscapers, so it was beautiful. There were peach trees and plum trees and cherry trees and pears growing along the circular driveway and lilacs and all kinds of beauty. I mean, it was a paradise, really. And I stole money from my dad. I used to sneak into their bedroom and steal money out of his pockets and stuff, thinking they didn't know. And one of the teachers busted me, so I had to work. My father made a big chart, and he said, "You're too old to spank." So I was 10. And he said, "So you have to work this off." So I had to milk 3 goats, which is a cow and a half.
Really?
Goats only have 2 of them.
Oh.
So, and I milked them, and you'd squirt it, and the cats would jump up and catch the milk in there. You know, they literally would do that. I took care of the rabbits and the hutches, and I got paid for each thing, a nickel for this, a penny for each egg, and I carried slop up for the pigs. So I was a regular little farm woman at 10, and I liked it, actually. It was good. The memories are good.
And your father was in the diplomatic service?
That's what I thought.
That was the story he told.
That's what we were told.
Oh.
But he was actually working for the CIA, which was the OSS at that time in 1950. And so we moved to Austria for 3.5 years, and he was doing all his secret stuff. And I went to boarding school in England, which is where I learned how to act. Yeah.
And you also danced when you were young, didn't you?
Yes, I wanted to be a ballerina. And the teacher came up to me one day and said, "You know, you're not a very good dancer. Why don't you think about becoming a special drama student?" So that's what I did.
Well, that worked out pretty well for you.
It did, thankfully, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have seen you on stage in multiple shows, and you are just so brilliant. I mean, you're brilliant on camera, but on stage also, yeah. You just...
Thank you.
The way you... Because it's always interesting to me with someone that I really know to watch them and see for myself, do I catch you acting? You know, what do I think is...
Oh, that's a great compliment if you're saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a real compliment.
I never catch you acting at any point.
I appreciate that. You know, I felt that way about Richard Thomas. He's a wonderful stage actor.
Yeah.
I didn't even know who he was. He was a different person. Yeah, it was so good. And the stage is where I feel comfortable. I never felt really comfortable on a set. It's too intimate. It's too personal almost.
And
the
yet,
camera's right there, you know.
But I'm looking back at episodes now and just watching your work, the subtlety of it, and
You're so sweet.
There's just so much depth in what you do.
You're so kind.
Oh, but it's true. I find myself thinking, what's her preparation? Because every actor has their own sort of preparation.
You know all that. But, I mean, I thought you guys knew everything. I mean, you knew.
We just thought we did.
That you had. I forgot that were supposed to hit a mark, and there was a microphone, and all that was going on. And I was just kind of, duh. I'd been doing theater, and I felt like a complete idiot. But you welcomed me, even though Patricia Neal originated the role. You made me feel very welcome. So.
Well. Many times actors who come up through the stage overact on camera, which you never did.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
I overact in real life.
See, you saved the drama for... Some people say, I'm not going to have drama in real life. I'm going to save it for the screen. I always said it's good I was an actor because then I kept the drama in front of the camera or on the stage as opposed to at home. At least that was my perspective of it. I don't know that the other people around me felt that way. My sister one time said, well, I don't know what's the big deal. She's just being her own bratty self. But I thought that was great. Which is
what it's all about.
Exactly.
Yes.
That she thought that. I find as I get older that there's challenges to it, but what I love about it is that there's so much life experience that, especially when we've lived full lives as you and I have, we've had so many wonderful experiences in our life, that are there things that you would like to be able to share with younger people? Advice you'd give them, or things that you feel are valuable life lessons that you've had?
Oh, I think the best advice I could give is don't give advice. I mean, you know, sometimes giving advice is a way to push people away, actually. It puts you in a position of authority, and the person you're giving advice to suddenly becomes smaller. Not that that ever stopped me, but just my father, it was very important to my father that we be honest as kids. And that we fessed up. If we did something wrong, we had to fess up. And I think that gives you a sense of dignity, actually.
Making the choice to leave the show. I talked with Richard about this at one point. How was that for you? And was it hard? Did you regret it? Was it something you felt you had to do, but you still regret it? What was the feeling on all of that?
I don't regret leaving, but it was hard to leave. And I did wake up a few times after I left with them. I remember one dream, they wouldn't let me be in the photo, you know, every year they photograph.
Yes, the family shot.
Family shot. And we all hated it. But I remember one dream, they wouldn't let me be in the family photograph. And I woke up crying. So, yeah, I missed everybody. And but they weren't giving me enough to sink my teeth into at the end. And they really tried. They really did. So I applaud them for that. But toward the end, I seemed to be asking questions. And then what happened? And then where did you go? And time for bed, kids. More coffee, John. More coffee, Grandma. More coffee, John Boy. More coffee, Mary Ellen. So, yeah.
I got to pour the coffee
seemed like they just wanted me in the shot. Earl said that. He said, we just want your presence. But I said, Earl, do you know how boring that is?
Well, but your presence was so powerful in scenes, even when you didn't talk. And it was something I really, really hit home when, after Ellen Corby had her stroke and she came back and she really couldn't speak, she struggled so much, was how powerful what she did with no words was. And
I think she did more after she had her stroke, yeah.
Yeah, that just the look, that's what I was talking about with just the depth of your work, that you could just give a look, a reaction to something. I would find myself thinking, oh, such as what does Mama think of that? And just that cutaway to your reaction told us so much.
You are so sweet, I couldn't stand it. Well, Ralph and I were really lucky because you guys, you know, you had your schoolwork, you could only work 10 hours, which is a long time for a kid. But it was so easy to love you, all of you, you know. It was just so easy. I don't think we were really acting. And for me to love Ralph as well, you know, he was a pain in the ass sometimes as a person, because he was opinionated about things, not in a negative way, but he you know, he was a very
a lot of convictions.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good word. Conviction. He had a lot of convictions, and I didn't always agree with him, but we basically loved each other, really genuinely.
Well, you have had a tremendous career. Are there standout favorite roles you've played or opportunities you've had?
Well, there's nothing like being on Broadway. I'll tell you, there's nothing like that. But I am more comfortable doing theater than I am doing film. I don't know why. You know, you get to rehearse for one thing, but I got used to it after a while, and it feels good. It feels good to be on a set now. But when I first started out, it was a big adjustment for me.
So it has been such a treat.
Thank you, Judy. I love you very much, honey. Oh, thank you.
And thank you to all of you for joining us for this segment. We'll see you next time. I hope you enjoyed part 2 of my time with Michael Learned. I'll be back with more behind the scenes very soon. Thanks for watching.